Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Media Mandem YouTube channel. It is me, Junior, your host, today, doing another Fantastic Four video. But this time, I'm focusing on the MCU variant of the first family in the Marvel Universe. We're going to be doing what we have done over the previous few videos, looking at a few points that I feel are going to link to Doomsday, and a little bit of a kind of retrospective or a look back over the film itself as well. So jumping straight into it, I think this film was really well done. I really loved how it kind of had that retro futuristic approach to the whole sci-fi genre. I think the aesthetic was really cool. I know the casting initially was quite controversial in a way, or some people had a lot to say about it, but I think it worked really well. It would have been nice to see John Krasinski and Emily Blunt as the titular Fantastic Four couple, but it's fine. Like, I wasn't like, oh no, we didn't get to see them, sad times, are gonna cry, but it was like, it would have been cool to see that. Anyway, let's jump straight into it. Speaking of, or continuing on from that mindset, or the point about the retrofuturism, I think it's a really nice way to demonstrate how the multiverse works. The fact that they didn't make this big thing about, there's loads of Earths, there's loads of multiverse universes, and this is one of them. We just jumped straight into it, which I thought was quite nice. The way that they already demonstrate, they have things like interdimensional science, the kind of the not worship, but the kind of the idealization of superheroes was quite prevalent in that, even though it was like in the 50s or the 60s. They had things like color TV. They had a lot of futuristic things, certainly even for our time, which was quite cool. And the fact that, obviously, being the man that he is, Mr. Fantastic is already working on science that even now in our modern day doesn't exist. So it's like, we've got to create this teleporter thing, and we've got a spaceship that can go to space and come back again. And it's kind of like they're the only team certainly in that part of the world, it seems, who could do that, which I thought was quite a cool nod to kind of how ahead of the times the Fantastic Four tend to be. Even in regular Marvel universe, that's often the case. I thought that their universe had a very nice difference in terms of, it felt like it was aesthetically, of course, as I mentioned before, was very different, but it helped to make the distinction between, this isn't like the other universes that we've seen before, which I thought was quite cool. And I mean, yeah, I was gonna say something. I was gonna go on a whole tangent about the art style, but we won't go there. Why do I think that this retrofuturistic or multiversal kind of thing matters to Doomsday? As we already know, Doomsday has very much got the multiverse at the core of its plot or of its story. So of course, Earth 828, which is the one that they inhabited, we saw it's already been a target for Doom himself. You should have seen this film already. If you haven't, this is a plot spoiler, but he appears at the end of the Fantastic Four film. Doom, I mean, by the way, in case you didn't know who I was talking about. So he already has access somehow. He's already gotten there. And then, of course, if you've seen the the special look, I think they called it, from D23, the Avengers Doomsday special look trailer thing, we already know that they've had interactions before, Doom and the Fantastic Four. They know him. So I think that will also have something to play off in it, which I think will be really cool, because the dynamic between Mr. Fantastic and Doom have always been really cool, that they are both the smartest dudes in the room. And it's often you feel like, oh, but then if Mr. Fantastic is the smartest man in the room, how come Doom is always able to outthink him or to outsmart him, and then vice versa? But of course, just because you're the smartest man in the room doesn't mean you know absolutely everything there is to know about everything ever. It doesn't mean that there aren't holes in your knowledge, or that there aren't gaps in your knowledge, or that you can literally be so smart you can't see the wood for the trees, which is always what creates that really cool dynamic between the two of them. So I think seeing how that plays out will be really cool. Jumping on to our next point, And once again, this, to be honest, this whole thing is kind of going to be spoilers for the first Steps film. You should still watch it though. I think it's very good. The one of the major kind of story or plot points in the first Steps film is Sue Storm's pregnancy. And the fact that it comes to a point where they realize their son Franklin, he's special, and not just in that, oh, everybody's special kind of way, but like there's something about this child that has attracted a multiversal being to him, and is like, yeah, like this kid, like like we need, like I need this kid, I need him in it, and you're like, okay, that's a bit weird, but that's a large part of the premise of the film. But by introducing Franklin, who himself is one of the most powerful beings in Marvel lore, period, and introducing Galactus, or reintroducing him, because he was in Fantastic Four 2, Rise of Silver Surfer, which was a film that existed. But having those two characters introduced into the MCU instantly ups the stakes, because you have two beings of immense power, and one of them who is still literally a baby, but he saves his universe at that point. And to see him not be mentioned really, or not be focused on in Doomsday, kind of implies the fact that it's like, well, either there's two things: that we've completely forgotten about him, which is highly unlikely, or we're holding back to have him play a larger role later on, either in Doomsday or in Secret Wars, which I think is a very, very good idea, because you don't want to, give away your trump cards so quickly. Same thing with Sentry. It's like he's right there, but we haven't seen him in any Doomsday stuff at all. It's kind of like, yeah, we need to hold back our most powerful cards, because when it's really, really bad, that's when you need to bring out the top guns and that. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out, and I'm really interested to see if that plays out, because going forward, Franklin's no doubt going to become someone who's very important in the MCU. And I think it will be cool to see how that kind of plays out. Whether he's someone who's just like, okay, anyway, have to just, destroy Doom, or I have to figure out how to reconnect or reboot the universe. Who knows what's going to happen, but I'm interested to see how it plays out. Speaking of, massive threats and massive powerful characters that were introduced, Galactus and the Silver Surfer, I thought they were both done really well in First Steps. Rise of Silver Surfer had a lot of potential, and I think the Silver Surfer in that film was really good. The visuals for his character was really, really cool, and the fact that a lot of it was practical effects was even more impressive. I liked this version as well. That she has a similar backstory to the original, slightly different. And that when you start to learn more about her character, you realize, oh, just like the regular Silver Surfer, they're not a bad person. They are in between a rock and a hard place kind of thing. And I would have loved to have seen more of her backstory and seen more of how she became the Silver Surfer and how she's been his herald and things like that. I think that would be quite cool. But the fact that she exists in the universe still, I think is quite cool, because it means that these characters can come back again. And Galactus himself is another one. They didn't necessarily, you can't like take him out, so to speak. You kind of just have to make him go over there to the corner, or like send him off to go somewhere else kind of thing. Which is an interesting kind of situation, because it means you can always keep bringing this character back. He can become another villain in a next Fantastic Four film or another MCU project. That could be, he's an Avengers level threat, so he could be someone who can come back and they have to fight him again, but everybody has to get involved. Or you can have a situation where Silver Surfer comes back and she becomes a hero, like the Silver Surfer does often in a lot of Marvel comic books as well. And it's like, oh, we've introduced these characters who are really cool, have a lot of really cool things about them, and now we can have them interacting with other superheroes that they couldn't in the original Fantastic Four, Rise of Silver Surfer. So I think that would be quite cool. But from a point of view from the Fantastic Four themselves, I think their film, or First Steps, it's quite nice because it demonstrates what kind of experience and skill they bring to a threat like Doom. The fact that they've already figured out how to take out someone like Galactus, and they were able to take on a Silver Surfer, and they won. 4 people managed to do that. So now when they have a wealth of experience and knowledge that they can share with the other Avengers and with the X-Men as well, to help them take on someone like Doom. And I think it will be interesting because obviously Doom's not as big as Galactus, he's not as powerful as him, but his threat level is still very high. So seeing how they deal with that, with more people to help them, will be an interesting dynamic. That they've made one guy in Doom a threat who's making everybody worry. The Fantastic Four, Thor himself, all these different people who are immensely powerful, as whether as individuals or as part of a team, and having one guy be like, oh no, it's making everybody quake in their boots. I think it's also a really good way of showing just how much of a force Doom's that he possesses, that he can make them feel a little bit like, oh, we have to lock in, guys. Like, we have to lock in. I think that's a really cool, approach going forward. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that kind of plays out. So how do I feel like the Doctor Doom, the mid-credit scene? I think that was a wonderful way to bridge between, of course, one universe and introducing Doom, and then having that obviously going to be linking in with all the other Avengers stuff. Fantastic Four was always going to be, I think, the best choice in terms of a film to use Doom as an after-credit scene, because as I mentioned before, he is linked to that franchise or to that group of heroes more than anyone else, being almost like the other side of the coin to Reed Richards. And I think it's very, very good seeing how we don't know that much about this Doom. We don't know that much about even this Fantastic Four, but seeing in the special look trailer how they already all know each other, I think it will help to add a lot more depth, a lot more of an interesting chance to have these interactions between the two groups, between Doom and the Fantastic Four. Seeing how that plays out in Doomsday, I think will be really cool. Having an opportunity to also then link in a cool concept of they're looking at Doom, his face, of course, being Tony Stark's, but for their universe, there is no Tony Stark. It's only Doom that they know. But then seeing Thor and Captain America looking at him, and they're like, oh, but that's our friend Tony. And they're like, oh, we don't know who that is. He's only ever been victim on Doom to us. I think would be quite cool. The idea that he's not the same person, but he can look the same, but be a completely different person. But there are still things that are linked in terms of character traits or mentality or even approaches to things between Doom and Tony Stark, that they are often the smartest people in the room. They can often have massive egos. They can often be arrogant or think that they're always right or want to always be right. And that can also then lead them to do things that can often be endangering others, but will they perceive it as the right thing to do? Or they might perceive it as this is the only way to do something. And I think that will be really cool because it will demonstrate the duality of Robert Downey Jr.'s acting, for him to be able to be someone who's almost very similar to the person he played for so long before, but showing and finding all the nuances that make them two completely different people. And seeing how that plays out, I think will be a really, really cool thing. But that none of that could really exist if you didn't have that anchor point with the Fantastic Four being the people who already know him. Because it would be a situation where in Doomsday, let's say Doom turns up and nobody knows who he is. And they're like, who is this guy? He just looks like Tony Stark. But then having the Fantastic Four, they go, no, we know this guy. And he was, as the special look kind of alludes to, he wasn't a bad guy, but like they say sometimes, it only takes one bad day to change someone's life completely. And it seems like that's what's the kind of direction that they're going in. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how that all plays out. So that was just me rambling for a few moments about a film I thought was rather good, and how I think more so that it links to Doomsday than I think I've link this from more to Doomsday than I have the previous ones I've spoken about. But I'm looking forward to seeing how it all goes. We're only a few months away from it now. I mean, August is practically over. December is in, well, almost four. Yeah, I can't even speak. September is the 9th month, right? Yeah, 3 months. 3 months? Yeah. Because August is, yeah, that'll be 4. Yeah. Trust me, I know maths. I honestly, I do. Lols. But yes, thank you. Please, as we always do, and all the YouTube channels you watch will always ask you to do. If you'd like to share, comment, like, subscribe, please let me know if you have watched Fantastic Four First Steps. What did you think of it? Are you looking forward to seeing them once again taking part in the MCU this time as part of Doomsday? And let me know what you think is going to happen in Doomsday. Do you think they're going to play a really massive part? Are they going to just be the B team or something else entirely? Thank you so much once again. I can't say thank you enough. Honestly, I don't think either me or Tim thought the channel was going to be doing as well as it has been for so long, and we are very, very grateful for all the support. So I must sign off for now, and until next time, take care.